Alright, we're going to talk about angles of polygons. We've discussed before that sum of all the angles in a triangle is 180 degrees. No matter what, no matter how big the angles are, how small they are, it's always going to be 180 degrees no matter what. So sum of all the angles inside a triangle is 180 degrees. Now there's other polygons, right? And I have just a few examples in here. And imagine you're going to have to figure out how many degrees is inside a square, a rectangle, a pentagon, or a hexagon. If you're going to get a question, what is the sum of all the angles in these shapes? And not many of us have it memorized, right? I'm going to show you a couple ways to solve it. One way is if I put a point in a vertex and I connect other vertex to it, let's say in here, another corner, what did I just create? Two triangles. And I know each triangle is 180 degrees. So how many degrees is total inside a square? 180 plus 180, 360 degrees. Same in here. It doesn't matter where I start. And if I connect the two edges, the two corners, same thing, 180, 180. Some of them, if I add them up, I will get 360 degrees, right? Let me grab a calculator because we're going to be doing a couple of calculations today. Let's see how many degrees is inside pentagon. So I'm going to start with, it doesn't matter which vertex you pick. Let's say I'm going to start from here. And I'm going to go to the next corner and the next corner. And that's about it, right? I cannot go anywhere else. I have 1, 2, 3 triangles. Each triangle is 180 degrees. So 180 3 times, right? I know the sum of all the angles inside a pentagon is 540 degrees. Because I knew I could fit 3 triangles in there, right? Let's look at hexagon. Let's start from this corner. And there, and there. How many triangles did I create? 1, 2, 3, 4. Each triangle is 180 degrees, right? So 180 degrees in each triangle, and I have 4 of them, so times 4 is the sum of all the angles inside the hexagon is 720 degrees. Now, in math, we do like to come out with a formula at times, right? Mathematicians do like to come up with a formula. That formula says S. S means sum of all the angles inside a polygon is equal to n minus 2 times 180. So let's talk about what means what. S means sum of the angles. Sum of all the angle measures. N is number of sides. So let's see what they mean. Let's pick a shape. Let's say the pentagon. So if I have a pentagon and I want to figure out what is the sum of all the angles inside a pentagon without drawing the triangles. So S, which is the sum of all the angles, equals n, means number of sides. So how many sides we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides, minus 2 times 180. Following my order of operations, right, I know I'm supposed to take care of my parentheses. 5 minus 2 is 3 times 180. And if you use your calculator, you will figure out that 3 times 180 is indeed 540 degrees. So the sum of all the angle measures, if I added all these angles up, right? The sum of all the angle measures is equal to 540 degrees. Let's solve some problems because they're going to be a little funky. And let me pick a nice one. So imagine that you will have a polygon, and let's start just with the top number. Find the value of x. Well, if this was a triangle, I know I will take the three angles, add them up, and make it equal to 180. Well, the problem is this is not a triangle, and I cannot make it equal to 180 because it's not a triangle, right? I don't know what is the sum of all the angle equal to. I need to first figure out if I add these up, all of these up, when I add them up, I need to know what is the sum of these angles equal to, right? Well, let's figure this out. You can either draw triangles, right, and see how many triangles we fit in and what is the sum of all the angles, or you can apply that formula where S, sum of all the angles, equals number of sides minus 2 times 180. Let's see how many sides we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So sum of all the angles equals 6 minus 2 times 180. So sum of all the angles equals 4 times 180. So sum of all the angles, guys, and again, please do not be afraid of using a calculator. 4 times 180, right, is 720 degrees. So now I know that if I add all these angles up, they're supposed to equal to 720. Knowing that, I can find x, just like with the triangle, right? So let's add them up. 125 plus 120 plus 125 plus 110 plus 135 plus x. If I add all these angles up, they're supposed to give me 720 degrees. Please do not make it equal to 180. This is not a triangle. So let's add all these up, right? Combine like terms. 125 plus 120 plus 125 plus 110. Oopsies. All right, let me start from the get-go. 125 plus 120 plus 125 plus 110 plus 135. I have 615 plus x equals 720. To solve for x, I have to subtract 615 from both sides. Right? So 720 minus 615 is 105. So x equals 105. I solved my x, which is 105. Guys, please do double check your answers. Add all these numbers up, and you know the sum of all the angles of a hexagon, it has 6 sides, supposed to equal 720 degrees. If you add all these up, you should get 720, and yes, you do. You also will be introduced to one more thing, which you should know. You will be talking about regular polygons. Regular polygon means that the measure of each side of the polygon has the same measure. So the second you see the word regular, you know every angle measures the same. Let's look in here, right? They've given me a hexagon. And the question is, find the measure of each interior angle of the hexagon. Well, right now, they're not giving me any number at all. But what I know is that each angle in here is the same angle. So I'm gonna name it X. All of these angles, right, measure the same. So if I add them up, right, I'm supposed to get certain amount of degrees. Well, let's see. First of all, if I did not use the formula, we know by now that I can create triangles, right? And I have 4 triangles. Each triangle is 180 degrees. So 4 times 180, I know the sum of all the angles inside the hexagon is 720 degrees. How many x do I have? 6, right? So 6x equals 720 degrees. How do I solve for x? Well, divide by 6, correct? So 720 divided by 6 equals 120. X equals 120. That means each angle in this hexagon is indeed 120 degrees. If you add them up, you will get to 720. All right? Let's look at, however, also one more thing. Let's look at exterior angles. Guys, if you look at the exterior angles, there's only one thing you have to remember. If I took this shape right now and I shrunk it, all of these angles will combine and give me a perfect circle. The sum of all the exterior angles, and it's not coming out nicely, but the sum of all the exterior angles of any, goodness gracious, of any kind of polygon, if I was to add all of them up, is gonna create a circle. It's gonna give me 360 degrees, no matter what. So that means if I am trying to find a measure of an exterior angle of a polygon, I know I have to add all these angles up and make them equal to 360. It does not matter what shape it is. As long as I'm talking about exterior angles, I know I'm creating a circle, which is 360 degrees. For instance, in here, I know I would have to do 50 plus x plus 91 plus 127. The sum of them should give me 360 degrees. Combine your like terms. 50 plus 91 plus 127 is 268, plus the x should give me 360. To solve for the x, the 268 wants to go over there, and I have to subtract, right, because it's positive. So minus 268 minus 268 on both sides of the equal sign. This will cancel, and I will get that x equals 92 degrees. So this x in here is 92. Let's make sure we're correct. So I have the 92 plus 50 plus 127 plus 91 is 360 degrees.